All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Alchemy Podcast. I am with a phenomenal guest today, someone who I haven't seen in 10 years.
It's been forever.
Miss Megan Prince.
Doug, thanks for having me today.
I'm fired up for this.
Me too.
Do you remember the last time I saw you?
It was
See if you can remember.
door to door, but we went to lunch somewhere. I can't recall where.
Do you remember what city we were in?
We were in Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas.
Yep.
It's the last time I saw you. That was in 2015.
15.
It's literally been 10 years.
Literally on the dot, 10 years.
10 years.
Happy 10 years.
Happy 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I saw you in the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we both worked at Vivint for a long time, and we've always kind of stayed in contact. We follow each other on social media, kind of following your journey from afar and whatnot. And it's been kind of fun to see your evolution.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You as well. You're
Yeah.
killing it right now.
You know, we're just doing our best.
We really are. We're out here trying. That's
Yeah.
what matters.
Yeah. But I have some questions for you because I'm very curious of your journey, because one thing I've noticed from afar is you were really successful at door to door, right?
It was brutal.
It's hard.
It was so hard.
And then you also successfully transitioned. But I'm curious, before we get into the transition, how did you even get into door to door?
I got into door to door, rewind all the way back to 2012. And a guy I was dating at the time and I had broken up. It was the 4th of July weekend. Somebody from Vivint was home for the 4th of July weekend. And I went over for a bonfire. I told him about my breakup. I was so sad, distraught. He was like, well, I'm headed back out to Wyoming tomorrow. You should join. Like, you have nothing better to do, so come sell Vivint. So I ended up leaving the very next day, and I sold door to door for 4 years after that.
You were like overnight you were in.
Overnight. Yeah, it happened very quickly.
Like, hey, we're going to go sell for the summer tomorrow.
Literally tomorrow, pack your bags. So I went home. I only had a backpack, and we were good to go.
Yeah. And how did 2012 Wyoming? That was a good market.
That was a really good
That was
market.
kind of oil boom up there. Everyone that was up in Wyoming that year did really, really well.
Yeah, except for me. It was so brutal.
What do you mean?
First year. I had such a hard time actually getting into sales. I don't know if you knew that about me, but it took me like a good 2 weeks to get my first sale.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get my first sale. My ex-boyfriend at the time got me my first sale.
He wanted to keep you around, so he threw in your name.
He felt so bad for me, but I kept coming back every single year and improving.
How many did you do your first year?
So I think I did 40 my first year.
I mean, that's average for Vivint. The average,
Okay.
so I learned this, the average rookie at Vivint sells 37.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so, but you did 40, right?
I'm just so elite.
Yeah, you're
I
so elite.
agree.
I mean,
Average.
first year summer, right? You did
Yeah.
40, right?
It was so brutal.
But then what kept you coming back the next year?
So at the time I was going to Utah State, I was a very poor college kid and I didn't know of any other opportunity. So that was how I ended up paying for year 1 and year 2 of school. But it just kept getting more and more expensive. So ultimately I dropped out of school.
You dropped out.
And yeah, I never went back.
Never looked back. Wow.
Yep.
A true college dropout.
Really though.
Yeah. Yeah, but you had pretty good year 2, right? Year 2, year 3, you started picking up a little bit more, right?
Yeah, year 2, I believe it was closer to 60, and then year 3 was 80.
Yeah.
Year 4, I did half of a summer. I think it was for Pinnacle.
Oh, you sweet. I didn't know you left Vivint.
Yeah, I left Vivint temporarily,
Yeah.
and Cody Babel actually brought me
Love
back.
Cody.
It fell apart halfway through the summer, and then Vivint picked up our team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they let me count. I believe it was 60 or 70 that I had sold for that other company towards my accelerators. So I ended the year at 120.
Yeah.
Yeah, my last year.
I mean, 4 years of door to door.
It was so hard.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it really was.
It's a grind, right? So, one conversation that I have with a lot of people is how they navigate from summer model, from door to door to more corporate. What was that transition like for you from like doing, door to door, it's like you're on your own, go figure it out, kind of work your schedule. You don't have to clock in anywhere. You're 100% commission. So it's very empowering. What was the transition from 4 years of door to door to corporate job?
Yeah, so my story is so interesting there as well. And it was more of like a gut feeling, intuitive thing where I had a friend working for a company called Weave at the time as an onboarder. And I had gotten home from the summer. I didn't have a job, didn't have anything to do. She was like, they're hiring for BDRs. You should just come tour the building.
What's a BDR?
So BDR is like an SDR role where you're cold calling prospects all day, trying to set demos for account executives who end up selling.
So you're a setter.
Yep. So you're essentially a setter.
Yep.
So she was like, they're hiring for setters. Just come tour the building. So I went in the next day. I toured the building. I ran into the hiring manager and he's like, can you start tomorrow? So
you love jumping in the next day.
Starting tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah, we're starting tomorrow.
We just start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started tomorrow, and then I ended up working my way up to vice president in 6 years. We IPO'd, so we is a publicly traded company, and after the IPO, I ended up leaving. Ultimately, I landed at a company called Zenny. I was vice president for 2 years, and then I've been a CRO for about a year and a half now.
Yeah. So from starting as a setter to now chief revenue officer, and was that 8 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So what a journey, right?
It's been wild.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about that transition of like, okay, now I'm going to be a setter, right? Did the skills you learned in door to door, did it make it really helpful when you first started at Weave?
Yes. If you can do door to door, you can do software sales. Door to door is 10 times harder than software sales from my perspective. Maybe that's also coming from a female perspective where you're not sure who's going to open the door. You're not necessarily in the safest of situations all the time. So for me, it did translate over really well where you're calling, I would say, 100 to 200 people a day. And then you're
making 100 to 200 phone calls a day.
Yeah.
Just
as
cold call.
Setter.
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of the time it's like door to door, you'll get hung up on, door slammed in your face, but it's about just calling the next one and knowing your numbers. So I think it was actually you who taught me this, but I knew in door to door, if I knocked 8 doors, I would get 1 sale. If I had 3 pitches, I would get 1 sale. So it was about really knowing my numbers for SDR work as well. And then I would say same thing for account executive, same thing for director, VP, CRO. It's just about knowing your numbers.
Yeah, so there's a combination here, man, because it's like you don't just go from a setter to chief revenue officer with just the skill set of selling, right? There's obviously a lot of other skill sets you need for interpersonal, for leadership, for development, communication, interpersonal, right? So talk to us about some of those lessons or the skill sets you learned on your journey to the CRO.
Oh man, I would say, where do I begin? So as an SDR, I felt like it was all about me. And I definitely had that mindset, especially because I ended up being a top performing BDR. But what I learned later in my career is no individual is greater than the whole if you want the whole to succeed. And it's very much of the saying of rising tide lifts all ships as well. So abundance mentality, Boomerang Effect is another one I could go on with.
Tell me more about the Boomerang Effect.
Yeah, Boomerang Effect is whatever you give, you will receive equal or greater value. So if you're giving hate as an example, you will receive 5 to 7x the amount of hate. If you're giving love, you'll probably receive 3 to 5x the amount of love. So when it comes to just everything that I ended up doing, I would go into it with the end in mind, thinking, what do I also want to receive at the end of this? So I'm very much of the mindset, if I don't want to be badly talked about, as an example, then I am going to think positive thoughts about everybody I come into contact with. If I disagree with a person, if I hate somebody, hate is a very strong word, but if I dislike somebody, I will do my best to try to see the good in that individual, and I know it will eventually come back.
Yeah. So tell me some of the hard lessons you learned, right? Because obviously you don't make this path to be a chief revenue officer without making some major mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And so in the corporate world per se, because I can't speak to the corporate world. I've never worked corporate my whole life. My whole life I've been in door-to-door commission sales or kind of own my own business. And so it's just a world I've never like had to wear a suit to work, and I've never had to like clock in. So this is just like a world that I just don't know about and anything. And I'm sure the energy and the dichotomy of the is just so different. And so tell us what were some of those hard lessons, and was there any like shock from being like Vivint, kind of free spirit, kind of do your thing, to like more of a structured situation? Was that like a culture shock to you?
It definitely was. I would say year 1 and year 2 of BDR AE, there were definitely politics involved.
What are some of the politics that have? Like, I've never been in a situation with politics.
So, I mean, it would involve, I would say, like the principles of how to win friends and influence people. So making sure that you are influencing somebody versus forcing somebody to do something. It would be only speaking good about other people and speaking to somebody's higher self as an example versus like pointing out everything wrong that they're doing. So I would also say what I said earlier, which was no individual is greater than the whole. I think when you go into sales, you go into it with like an individual contributor mindset where it's easy to think I'm a top performer, I get to do whatever I want. But in corporate, it's not that way. And I would say in leadership, it's not that way either. So what I mean by that is you have to lead by example. And if you want the team to be hitting their numbers, you have to be the first one in, last one to leave as a leader in corporate.
Yeah, it just sounds like you're just really setting the example. You talked about, with leadership, how do you navigate different personalities, right? Because every person kind of has a unique skill set. Mm-hmm. Some might be more outgoing or, self-starters. Others might need a little bit more motivation. And you said something really interesting I want you to speak more on, but you said it's influencing someone, not forcing them, right? Can you say more to that?
Yeah, so it comes down to tapping into somebody's why, I think is really important. And it's if your why doesn't make you cry, then your why isn't strong enough.
Wait, you say that again. If your why doesn't make you cry, your why is not big enough. Yeah.
Yeah, then your why isn't big enough. And so it's really finding out why somebody is doing the work that they're doing, because most people aren't working for fun. They're working because they have a family to provide for or medical bills to pay or a greater purpose that they're headed toward. And so I would say a lot of leadership is tapping into the why as to why somebody is there, and then really honing in your leadership style to be tailored to that individual. So you're not going to lead me the same way that you would lead somebody else. And I think sometimes the leaders that fail are the ones that have a one-size-fits-all type of mentality.
Yeah, how do you uncover someone's why? Is this like something you do like in a one-on-one situation, right? And you're managing people. I'm sure you eventually step into leadership roles. How are you tapping into that? Is it like an intuitive thing? Are you asking them? Do you have them fill out a survey? Do you do one-on-ones? Like, how are you finding that clarity?
Yeah, so it's usually about getting to know the individual, and then it's through daily practice. So like an example that I'll do every day is I have my gratitude journaling where I'll encourage my team to also do gratitude journaling. So what that comes down to is like top 3 things that you're grateful for that day. And then it's your I am statements. And then it's your 3 intentions for the day. And so a lot of the times I'll utilize something like that to really tap into their why. So if somebody's saying that they're grateful for their family, then I'll have them get more specific. Like, okay, who are you most grateful for today? If somebody's saying that they're grateful for their health, usually that's an indicator of like, okay, did you go through something recently? Did you have a family member go through something recently in regards to health? And then you're doing a deeper dive. So you're really getting to know that individual, what makes them tick, what motivates them. And then I would say the most important thing with finding a why is it's more of like a pull versus them having to push so hard every day. So the reason why it's not hard for me to get up every day and go to work every day is because I have such a strong purpose and why, versus I think my first few years in being a BDR and account executive, my why did not make me cry. So I didn't understand why I was going to work every day. So it was harder to go to.
Yeah, tell us about how your why's evolved. I mean, what would you say your why was when you first got started to versus today? I'm sure it's significantly different and it's evolved over time, and I'm sure it will continue to evolve.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us about that evolution.
The why in the beginning was I was a poor college kid and I needed food.
Yeah.
And I was hungry and I had bills to pay. I really wanted to pay for my tuition. I went to school originally to become an artist, and I thought that my degree was my identity. And so that was my original why. And then as my why progressed, it was ultimately to pay for my family. And in particular, I would say my mom definitely holds such a soft spot in my heart where like she's had a very difficult life. She's been through a lot. And I want to make it so she never has to worry about one thing ever again. So it's like, okay, great. You're on my insurance. You're on my cell phone bill. Sometimes, yeah, mortgage payments, that type of thing, where that brings me a lot of joy and satisfaction. I'd also say later down the road, so recently, it's very much of the mindset of like, I've had so much amazing success in my life where how I measure myself as a leader is who else can I get to have that success?
Yeah.
Who else can I develop into a director role, into a vice president role, into an account executive role? And if I'm not developing other people, then I'm not a good leader from my perspective.
Yeah. On that, I'm curious, how quickly can you tell when let's say you're meeting a potential someone to work with you, right? How quickly can you tell if someone's going to be really good or not? Like, what are some of the characteristic traits you look for when you're like, okay, this person is showing a lot of potential? What are some of the traits you look for versus what are some of the traits you maybe want to push away where you're like, okay, this might be a red flag? So what are some of the green flags and traits you look for in people? What are potentially some red flags?
I would say green flags would be coachability. So you're giving them feedback and then they're implementing and executing on the feedback. I'd say they're asking questions. They're self-developing. So they're listening to podcasts and books outside of work is a really good indicator of like, okay, this person wants to grow. It's somebody with that growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So somebody who's like, okay, it's okay that I made a mistake. Now, how do I improve on that mistake and how can I be 1% better every day versus dwelling on that mistake and really beating themselves up? I would say if I'm seeing a lot of negative self-talk, that's usually a red flag. I do think some people can coach and fix that, but it does take that daily practice in order to beat it out of you. And not everybody is willing to put in the daily work and practice to get rid of the self-talk. And so I think that's what drives me nuts is we know what we need to do to be successful. We know that it makes us happier when we're doing our breath work, when we're doing our meditation, when we're doing our journaling, when we're working out. We know what our highest self looks like. But sometimes I even fall off the wagon. I'm like, why did I do that? Why am I self-sabotaging? But the important thing is that I'm getting back on the wagon. And that's what I look for somebody who has a green flag.
Yeah, I love that you say that because it reminds me of like, I heard this really good analogy. So for those that like know me really well, I'm like a big Michael Singer fan. He wrote The Untethered Soul and I listen to his podcast. Like,
so good.
I'm like obsessive. I'll listen to like each podcast 2 or 3 times, but he's got this analogy that he's been using a lot recently. And he talks about gymnasts. Like you think about the Olympics, right? And these people like go through excruciating practice and strength training and drills for years for like this 60-second routine, you know, in the Olympics to win a gold medal, right? So it's like you've got this gymnast who's their whole life they've been practicing and training and pushing themselves and being coachable and their diet and their sleep and their weight training, like this whole thing for this 60-second routine. And when you watch a gymnast at the Olympics, you know, let's say you got the balance bar and you watch someone and they're doing the balance bar and they slip and they like maybe fall off a little bit or they don't hit the routine. They don't sulk. They don't quit their routine. They don't stop and like put their head down and like and they give up on the routine. If you see a gymnast in the Olympics slip, it's like their facial expression doesn't change, right? And they're within 1 second, they're continuing the routine, right? They just keep it going. And I love that analogy because oftentimes in life, right, I work with a lot of people being in leadership roles where you'll see someone slip off the balance beam. And then it's like they throw everything out and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't figure it out. And woe is me. And I'm such a victim. And they quit their routine and then they pow and then they victim and they blame and they beat themselves up. And it's like, dude, it's not a matter of if you slip, it's when you're going to slip. But the true growth and the true development comes in is like, how quickly can I get back on the beam, right? And continue the routine when I slip, right? It's not like, you know, you throw everything out all those years of work because you twisted, you know, you slipped off the balance beam. And so I love that analogy. It's like you watch the Olympians and their facial expression won't even change. If they slip, it's like they're not, you can't even tell.
Nothing happened.
They're just boom, keep going. Like, It's almost like, you know, and so I love that. And, you know, it's something that you talk about too. I'm getting 1% better. You know, before we started the recording, you were talking about your meditation practice, right? Talk to us a bit about like, how did you get into meditation, right? What differences did you see and like, why is it such an impactful practice for you today?
I think you were the one who actually introduced me to meditation like 10 years ago. And I think you told me about an app called Headspace, which I still use
Love Headspace.
to this day for 10 years straight.
Yeah.
So it's funny that, we're circling back here. But with meditation, what I've found for me is it provides me with a lot of clarity. It helps me tap into my intuition. It helps guide my life during my meditations as well. I usually go into it with an intention. So potentially a problem that I'm trying to solve or a person that I'm thinking about and needing help from a higher power on how to solve that particular situation or help that particular individual. So yeah, for me, it's brought a lot of peace, a lot of clarity, and then it's helped me to act on my intuition throughout the rest of the day. So I would say it helps me reset in the morning, and I pair that with my gratitude journaling, my intentions for the day, as well as I have different I am statements that I will state before I get into it.
Yeah, in my experience, the difference between breath work and meditation is meditation allows you to create separation from your thoughts, right? Your thoughts are going to be very neurotic and crazy, and we have these thoughts that we can spin out on. And right, meditation almost gives you this moment to create distance from them, to find the clarity and kind of find that more quiet inner voice. And breath work, you asked me if I do, I don't do as much meditation anymore. I do more breath work. Breath work for me allows me to upregulate, right? Where I can almost like break through these emotions of fear or kind of stress and just find that clarity. And so whether it's breath work or meditation, my favorite, and everyone who knows me knows I love the app Othership, those breath works, and I'm an investor in them. And so I love them. I'll always shout them out. But these daily principles and these practices, whether it's breath work or meditation, you also talk about exercise. When I don't know about you, Megan, but I realize I'm getting old, and here's how I know I'm getting old, where I actually recently revealed to myself that the number one reason why I exercise is because of how it makes my brain feel. Like, that's why I know I'm getting old. Like, I don't care about having a six pack and huge guns, right? I'm like, oh yeah, the reason I work out is because it makes me feel happy.
You need to stop saying that you're old. You're not old.
We're getting older.
You're not allowed to say that.
We're getting old. We're all going to die, Meg.
No, we're not.
We're all going to die. We're
just going into another.
We are hurling to our death right now as we speak. Every second that we're here, we're getting closer to our death. Isn't that wild?
Until we go into another life.
Yeah. What do you think happens when we die?
I think we start another life.
What do you mean? Tell me more.
I think it just starts over and over and over again.
Different lives or same life?
Different lives.
Different lives. Reincarnation?
I mean, I believe that we're here to learn lessons and to teach people as well as be taught those lessons. And then once we move past this earthly life, then we go into another life.
On Earth?
And I don't know if I can necessarily say on Earth, but it could be a spiritual realm as an example. It could be another planet as an example. I don't have like a solid answer for you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't
believe
that this is the end.
You know what's crazy?
Tell me.
No one on Earth has a solid answer to that question.
Yeah, not one.
No one knows. Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
And here's what's crazy. We all are going to find out.
We'll find out soon.
For free.
In 100 years.
For free. Every single person will get to find out what happens when they die.
That is a wild thought.
Yeah. And there's only two things that could happen. By the way, I'm not claiming I know anything, right? But there's only two scenarios.
You go into the abyss and you're nothing.
Either you're not there, like your consciousness lights out, like where were you before you were born, right? Just not there, right? Or you're going to have an experience outside of your body. Both are fascinating to me.
They're so fascinating. I think it's the second one.
But makes sense for me. If I were a betting man, I'd bet on the second one.
Like, I think that we're in a simulation right now.
Tell me more.
Oh man, where do I begin? I think that there are multiple realities that each of us experience on a daily basis. And you and I are in the same room as an example right now, but we're experiencing two very different realities. So I would say there's the saying, there's two sides to every story. There's like 15 million sides to every story from my perspective. Yeah.
So tell me more on the simulation though, like go a little deeper.
Oh man.
Help me understand.
Because
I think we live in a simulation too.
I believe that life is whatever you decide that it is. And I think that's where manifesting comes into play. I think that's where law of attraction comes into play. But I'm just a believer that whatever you think is true is true. Because who's to tell you that your reality isn't true? So, yeah, I also believe that there are different planes that people can live in. And I'm also a believer in law of vibration. So I'm of the mentality of like, if you want money, if you want success, if you want good things to be happening to you, then it only exists in the highest vibration, which is that's your authenticity, that's your love, your joy, your freedom. And then if you're not getting closed won deals, as an example, or you're experiencing negative things, then I believe that you're probably in a lower vibration of fear, anger, resentment, guilt. So yeah, that's what I mean by different realities.
What plane are you on right now, Meg?
I'm on, I would say, joy, freedom, love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes I become a little guarded with authenticity when it feels like performative, if that makes sense.
You feel guarded.
I would say like maybe 1% guarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you read The Map of Consciousness by David R. Hawkins?
No. Is it good?
He talks about these levels, right? Like these are the states of levels of conscious. He kind of labels them all out. So it's tuning into basically exactly what you're saying, that each energetic emotion that we embody, joy, love, enthusiasm, right? Each has its own.
Mm-hmm.
He gives them a number too, like what number you're vibrating at. It's fascinating.
What number are you at right now?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
You don't know?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, you do.
I have no idea. Doesn't matter. That's like my belief in life. Like just here. So I'll give you a little sermon here for a moment for the
Please
people
do.
listening.
Okay.
This is my direction of my life right now. Is that the core root of suffering in your human experience, whether that's from relationship, health, finances, career advancement, family, everything, as we've got all of these decisions to make and which direction we want to go and whatnot, it all stems back to the same problem, that I'm not okay. So stay with me here. I'm not okay. That's the main issue, right? So I'll give you a scenario. Let's say I'm like, all right, Megan, we're going to go to dinner. We have two options. Option one, we're going to go to like a Michelin star rated restaurant. The music's going to be incredible. The vibe is awesome. And it's going to be a meal that you're going to remember for weeks. Or we can go to restaurant number B. Also a Michelin star rated restaurant. Different music, but incredible music. Different vibe, but incredible vibe. And a meal you are going to remember for weeks. Doesn't matter which one we go to.
No.
Because you're okay.
Because I'm happy.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
Right? You're fine, right? Go one layer deeper here. Let's say governor. So governor shows up at your door. Mm-hmm. Scenario A. Your health is terrible. You're out of shape. You got situation going on with the doctors. You're no romantic relationships. You're just completely alone. Your finances are awful, right? You're bankrupt. You're almost on the verge of bankruptcy, right? You're feeling stressed and anxious, right? You're just not in a good spot. And the governor of Utah comes and knocks on your door, and they're like, Megan, you got kicked out of the state of Utah, but we're going to relocate for you, right? You can either go to Seattle, Washington, or San Francisco, California. Which one are you going to pick?
Probably Washington, because I'm from Washington.
Yeah. So
but either way.
Okay, so let's go.
Yeah.
From Washington. Like, okay, so I've got people there. Maybe I can be closer to family and like, okay, I can get in shape. Or what's the dating scene like there? Or like, can I get a good job? Or can I, where can I make new friends? Right? So the stakes are high. Scenario B, you're in the best shape you've ever been in your whole life. You feel vibrant and expansive. You're experiencing joy and love. Your romantic relationships are amazing. Your family dynamic's incredible. You have more money than you ever knew what to do with, right? You've got great friends everywhere. You're just totally okay and beaming. And it's like, hey, you have to go to San Francisco or Seattle. Doesn't matter which one you go to.
No.
Because you're okay.
Yeah.
You're just okay.
Yeah.
Right? And so my whole thing is like, the reason people have a hard time making decisions is because they're not okay. and they're trying to decide which decision will make me feel okay. Should I do this job or not do this job? What you're trying to feel is like, which one will make me be okay? Mm-hmm. Should I get in this relationship? Should I not get in this relationship? Mm-hmm. Right? If you're okay, like truly just, I can handle life, I'm good, right? Not everything is the way I want it to be, but like I can handle whatever happens. Have peace, equanimity, joy inside of me. It just doesn't matter what you do. It just doesn't matter.
It's about becoming, not attaining, essentially.
Yeah, it's just like
feeling the vibration you want to feel, and then that's
what is life asking of me? Where am I being asked to grow? Where am I being asked to serve? Where am I asked to love? Right? Mm-hmm. I can go serve and love and expand and help relieve suffering and quiet my mind and be of service, right? And it doesn't matter where I go or who I end up with or what I do, because I'm okay, right? And so the shift is that I'm trying to bring to the world, and this is what my next book's about, and I would love your thoughts on it, is most people live their life of how can I get the relationship and the finances and the career and the status and the car, and that once I get those things, then I'm going to be good. Like I'll just force my way and then I'll be okay. And the difference is actually I'm encouraging people, like, if you get rid of the reason why you need it, why you think you need it, you just get rid of that, then you're just always okay. And whatever comes and goes, you can handle. You're at ease. Mm-hmm. Right. And so all of this melodrama of suffering and pain and these really high swings of depression and sadness and frustration, and just, they kind of just fall away. Mm-hmm. Right. And now when those fall away, what is life asking of me? It's like, oh, I'm going to go be the best CRO ever and just serve everyone that comes to me. And that every person that comes into my business is significantly better off because they did. Mm-hmm. Because my role is to love and serve and help those around me.
I love that.
Because I don't need anything from anyone because I'm okay.
I love it. Yeah. I think most people are chasing the feeling that they think a car will get them, a career or title will get them. But what we all need to realize is it's the feeling that you need to feel first in order to also have those things. Yeah. So when you feel the feeling of joy, love, freedom, authenticity, that's when you're in the vibration of potentially the things that you want. But regardless of getting the things that you want, you'll be okay if you're just in that feeling frequency. And it's our choice every day to feel the feelings that we decide to feel.
Yeah. And I that's so true of like really embodying that emotion. I'm curious, just to change the topic a little bit, but I want to say on there is like one thing I want to ask you before I forget. But do you feel like you had to experience different challenges being a woman in the corporate space as you like navigated the corporate ladder here? Was there were there additional challenges that you feel like you had to deal with and had to overcome?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate saying that because I'm also a person that doesn't want to give excuses. So I do want to preface it with whatever you think you can be, you can be that. Whatever you want to achieve, you can achieve that. But I did notice differences, I would say, between myself as well as male peers. And I would say it comes down to maybe daily activities or hobbies as well, where a lot of corporate is you bonding with the team. And I don't golf, as an example. And so there would be golf outings that I wouldn't be invited to just because I'm not a golfer, not outside of any other reason. But I think it's those opportunities for bonding with the team that really do help people get to know you, to help progress you to the next level. So for me, I had to make it where it was like, be so good they can't ignore you. And my mentality was, I'm going to be the absolute best BDR. So I was. Then I got promoted to an account executive. Then I was number one account executive out of 100 account executives, where there was no doubt that I had earned that promotion. Yeah. Same thing with director. I was the best director. I had earned the vice president role. But yeah, when I was over at Weave as well, there was a situation where I was a senior director and my vice president at the time ended up moving into a different role. There was an outside CRO who came in, and I had worked my whole career at Weave to become a vice president. And overnight, that CRO brought in one of his friends that he had worked with at a previous company who was going to be the vice president. He had to meet with 2-3 people. And I had brought up that I wanted that opportunity and I'd like to put my name in the hat to try to make my way to vice president. I ended up having to do 12 interviews, and there was only one role open. But at the end of it, he was like, I'm going to create 2 roles. You earned it.
Amazing.
So that would just be a small example of I've had to work so hard, and my work has been able to prove itself where my teams produce hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's the once again be so good they can't ignore you mentality.
Yeah. So on that note, like let's say there's like female in the workforce who's trying to climb the corporate ladder here. You know, what advice would you have to someone that would be unique to a woman, right? That would encourage or inspire, kind of help them navigate the corporate ladder?
I would say don't have a victim mentality. We're not a victim. We're the chooser of our own realities. And so life is directly within your control. So that's the first step. And then the second step is don't give yourself excuses, even if it's true. And okay, it's true. So what are you going to do about it type of mentality? There's actually a workbook that I do with my team almost every day as well. And it's called Ladder of Accountability. So at the very bottom of Ladder of Accountability, you're unaware of the situation. And then step 2, you're blaming other people. Step 3, you're making excuses for yourself. Step 4, you're waiting and you're hoping. And then I would say that's below the line behavior versus the latter half of the Ladder of Accountability is you're recognizing there's a person.
Wait, is this the drama triangle?
This plays into drama triangle.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So is this from Conscious Leadership, 15 Traits of Conscious Leadership?
I haven't ever read that book, but I'm sure it's from that book.
Cool. Yeah. So So let's break this down again, because this is so good. So basically what you're saying is that in every situation, there's like above the line behavior or below the line behavior, right?
Yep, exactly.
And then there's the lowest end behavior, which is more victim, right? And then there's the highest, which is more high levels of accountability, right?
Which is the higher version of you, your high self.
Can you explain this? Because this is really good content. Can you explain this again, but use like a real world example of a situation and how that would fall into this ladder?
Yeah, I'll use the situation that I just said.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I could have said, it sucks. Like I guess I didn't get the vice president of sales role. It was given to this guy's friend who came in, and I'm sure he earned it as well. But yeah, there's not opportunity for me versus in my mind, I had the solution of, okay, well, there could be 2 vice president roles. I have proven myself. Here's my work that I've done where I feel as though I should have that title as well. And then I put together a proposal. I ended up setting up the interviews to make it happen and then ultimately got the job. So yeah, I would say it's every situation that you can think of in life where if you find yourself blaming other people, then you're below the line behavior. If you find yourself owning a situation and owning your part in Ladder of Accountability and coming up with solutions and then executing on the solutions, then that's where you truly are accountable, and that's higher level behavior. So above the line. Yeah.
So above the line is taking full accountability, offering solutions, being coachable, right? Below the line is victim,
blaming other people,
getting caught into shame and frustration, and really the way I could say it is turning on or turning off, being open or being closed. Right? If I'm open to a situation, I'm going to be open. I'm going to be curious. How about I figure it out? How do I take accountability? It's okay, right? How do we make this work? Being closed is shutting off, turning down, blaming, victim mentality. And so, do you take? You said you take your team through this worksheet every day?
Almost every day.
Yeah. So what does that meeting look like? Are you like, okay, here's the situation or a problem in business, right? And then you take them through this? Like, what do you mean you take them through it every day?
Yeah. So usually I'll pull up Ladder of Accountability, and we have definitions for each stage of Ladder of Accountability. And what I like to prompt them with is, hey, this isn't just a work thing. This is also your spirituality. This is your fitness. This is your personal relationships. And you can be highly accountable at work, but have low-level accountability in your personal relationship. So what I want you to do is break out into 4 different sections and rank yourself in each section of where you are, and then rate yourself of where you want to be, and then let's close the gap between those 2 sections. So I'll also usually kick it off like the meeting I had yesterday. I said, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I was a 3. I was blaming other people or circumstances as to why we didn't get XYZ. But today I'm now an 8, and here are the initiatives that we've rolled out in 24 hours because I'm sick of feeling sorry for myself and I'm not going to anymore. So I'll usually kick it off with that, and then I'll say, does anybody else want to share? And then the whole team will usually open it up and we'll talk about it for a good half an hour.
Have you noticed that by taking extreme, it sounds like extreme ownership stuff like Jocko Willink of just, high levels of accountability. Have you noticed that when you take really high levels of accountability at work, that bleeds over into your personal life?
It does. I would say there is translation, but it takes active work to make that translation happen. Yeah, so an example for me is I could be an 8 once again in work, but a 3. So blaming other people or making excuses as to why a personal relationship didn't work out type of thing. And so I would say it's hard because you would think it would be an 8 here and then an 8 here, but then it's a tool to just catch yourself when you're in the middle of making an excuse or blaming.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just really good to do those kind of assessments. What would you say are the main key areas of life to do this assessment through?
It would be fitness, spirituality, mental health, work.
Yeah. Cool. And so you mentioned earlier that if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough. I love that. Because we're not old, we're young, Meg, right?
So young.
We're so young. We are young, right? So you have a lot of career trajectory in front of you still. What are you hoping that path looks like for you?
I would like to be a billionaire one day, and I do think I'm capable of it. And I think how you become that is you provide so much value that it's undeniable, and you change other people's lives for the better. I know that's an insane goal, but I just think it would be amazing to say that and become that one day. Yeah.
And then outside of work, what gets you fired up? Because one thing I've also picked up, I've interviewed a lot of amazing people here. A trend that I've noticed similarity is that every really successful person I work with has a passionate hobby that has nothing to do with money or growth or development, right? Do you have anything like that in your life that is just, this is my thing? So for me, I've got a couple of weird things. So obviously I like golf, but a lot of people play golf, but a lot of people don't know this, but I collect sports cards. Super nerdy. I know that about you. Super nerdy hobby, right? It's very nostalgic for me. My dad passed away in 2011, but he would take me and we'd go to the card shop and I get a pack of cards. So it feels very nostalgic, right? And so it's almost this childhood piece that I have that almost keeps me connected to my younger self. And I've got, other hobbies too that really have nothing to do with, I read science fiction novels. It's not personal development, not how to make money, how to be an investor. It's just something that I do that's just for fun. So I'm curious, a lot of the successful people I work with, they all have something like that. That's just, they might not even be good at it, but it's just a hobby that gets them fired up. So I'm curious in your life, what brings Megan, not Megan, the badass, successful entrepreneur, but just Megan, what brings Megan joy and happiness outside of work?
This is going to sound so dumb, but TJ Maxx.
TJ Maxx, what do you mean?
TJ Maxx and Marshalls and Home Goods. So I would say I'm very much of a collector myself, where I have a coffee mug collection, I have a wine glass collection, I have a rock collection, I have a plant collection.
Oh, wait, a rock collection? What do you mean a rock collection?
I collect rocks.
When you're out on a hike, or like gems?
Gems, rocks, crystals.
Crystals.
Yeah, don't even.
Are you a crystal girl, Meg? Are you crystals?
Maybe not.
Yeah, it's okay if you are.
Not, duh.
Yeah.
But I love TJ Maxx. I think I love to find amazing deals, and then I also like to give things away. Yeah, so I think it's really fun to hunt or to find, and then once again, give it away if it resonates with somebody that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'd also say with my team, I'm very much team mentality of if somebody's having a baby, the thing I'm going to go do is go to TJ Maxx, obviously. And I'm going to put together a baby basket and give them a baby basket. If somebody bought a new house, I'm putting together a home basket.
You love it.
I love it.
It gets you fired.
I thrive in TJ Maxx, and it's so embarrassing because I go like 2 or 3 times a week as well.
And you're just looking for the little...
It truly just gives me so much joy.
The little hidden gem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It's funny how as humans, we have like this natural tendency to want to collect things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many people I know that like collect weird trinkets and something. And it's like, I'm curious why that's a part of the human nature. Why is that part of the simulation? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a weird part of the simulation.
Thing. Yeah.
I know a lot of people that collect weird things.
There's like 5 other categories of things that I collect. I don't know why.
What are they? Let's hear them. What are they?
I like designer bags.
Designer bags. We got the Louis Vuitton. Yeah. Those are the video. We know.
I have probably like 500 necklaces.
500.
Literally 500 necklaces.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to give them away as well. So big jewelry girl over here. Shoes is another collection. I collect cards as well.
Like, what do you mean cards?
So like birthday cards.
Okay,
yeah. Yep. Birthday cards, thank you cards. And I'll usually use them. So I'm not like next level weird where I just have them sit there.
Yeah.
But yeah. I like doing that.
Yeah. Why do you think it's important to have a hobby outside of work?
I think it brings you perspective, brings you purpose, brings you joy. If you're just working to work and you don't have anything else that lights you up, then it's difficult to find meaning in the little things. And for me, like having hobbies, so collecting things as an example, or like going to my workouts, it gives me joy. And I think it gives me like a sense of accomplishment on both working out and collecting things.
Yeah, one thing that was a big unlock for me, like when I started my spiritual journey like 10 years ago, was when I really committed to exploring new hobbies. Like really like, okay, I'm going to go take a cooking class. You know, I'm going to go ski for the first time. I'm going to go figure out, I'm going to start going to yoga for the first time. And it was in like this curiosity and exploration of potential new hobbies that like I found a lot of joy and fulfillment in my life. You know, I think about today, my favorite hobbies outside of work, golf, yoga, you know, even skiing, you know, these were all hobbies that I didn't start until I was like 26, 27. And now they're like some of my most favorite parts of my life. And so I just want to encourage everyone listening to this of like, to find true success. You talked about these levels, these vibrational levels of joy, enthusiasm, right? And you talked about for you to actually be successful in business, you have to embody that emotion first, right? So that it attracts to it. And a key part of that is to actually do things that make you feel alive outside of business, right? So because I know that if Meg's going to TJ Maxx and finding the trinket and the birthday card and doing her workout, your natural state is going to be that of joy and love and openness. And then you transfer that energy into the workforce. And now you're vibrating at that level at the workforce, which is making impact on other people and on the bottom line and on your finance. So it's just like this wheel that kind of feeds itself. And so I think it's really important that, and I think that's why every successful person I know has something outside of work that they love. Again, not even if they're good at it, right? Because it increases that vibrational state.
I love that. I think self-care is also really important. I don't know if people look at that as a hobby, but yeah, getting my nails done.
Got to get your nails done, man.
Eyelashes done. I have a face mask.
Show them the nails. Show them the nails, Meg.
Nails. You can't see my toes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But
you don't get that for free.
You do not get that for free. That's at least $1 million bad mode right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I believe that self-care needs to be a practice for successful people and outcomes. And there's not a lot of self-care, I don't think, for men in particular. I think that's more of, a female tendency for whatever reason. But that's something I really encourage my team to do as well. It's like if you're not, manicured as an example, like what are you doing for your mental health on a daily basis? You know,
I'm going to announce this because I just did a self-care today. I realized, summers I'm really busy. I'm speaking to a lot of sales teams. I'm traveling. I've been grinding since early May. And my self-care is right before this podcast. I booked a solo trip to Mexico City for the first week of August. So I think by this podcast comes out, trip will be completed. But I booked a solo trip to Mexico City to go on a museum and food tour
That's amazing.
by myself.
Let's freaking go.
Can't
Doug.
wait.
I can't wait for you.
Can't wait. Right.
That's
I'm like,
incredible.
guys, I'm going to go do something I want to do and, go spend 3 days in Mexico City. And
I feel like you
What?
earned it.
yeah, I'm here for it.
There you go.
I'm here for it. Well, Meg, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're an inspiration.
You are as well. I
Thank
learned
you.
so much from you, Doug.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just here to serve, Meg. And it seems like, one thing, a trait that I noticed in you too is obviously you would not be where you're at if you hadn't impacted and helped those around you. And so also inspired by you as well of living a life of service and accountability and expansion and really being rooted in joy. So I'm inspired by you, Meg.
Thanks, Doug. Feeling is so mutual.
Thanks.